I've been trading the Forex markets for well over 5 years at this point, and I've been able to secure multiple six figures in profits, and that's just in the past couple of years. Trading has allowed me to quit my job while just giving me a better quality of life. I'm able to travel, go out when I want, and just be able to take days off when I want to. For example, tomorrow I'm flying to Puerto Rico for like 5 or 6 days. Then after that, I'm going to Spain in Europe, going there for like a month, just going all over the nicest cities and just doing, the things that I've always wanted to do. When I get back from that, back to Miami, then probably like a month after, I'm already planning to go to Japan. And then after that, when I get back, probably just sometime back here, and then eventually go back to some other, Asian countries and just experience countries that I haven't been to yet. None of this would have been possible if I would have just went down the road of like the corporate route that basically my finance degree would have taken me to. Like I was supposed to, have a good salary, which is like technically good, like you'll make good money, but what good is a salary if, you don't have the time to be able to enjoy it? Or you don't have the flexibility to say, I want to take some days off, or I want to work when I want to make my own decisions. I want to be able to dictate how much I can make, because ultimately in trading, you can say how much you want to make. You can risk more, risk less. You can scale up. You can also decide what choices to make. So you have full control over everything. And at the end of the day, you have control over where you physically work. So you can work anywhere in the world, but also the fact that you can do it however much you want, right? So that's why obviously I'm doing swing trading, because swing trading is one of the least time commitment styles of trading there is ever, because you just take a trade and then you let it play out for like a couple of days. You don't have to actually sit here and watch the computer. Looking back at these past 5 years, sure, some years were really hard because I didn't really know what I was doing. But once I got everything going, once I got the system going, once I got my strategy down that shows me my A+ setups that I know to look for every single day, it's a lot more simple. So it's up to you to build a system and to build, a strategy that can make trading, which is like technically, it is hard. Like it is hard if you're just going into it with no plan. It can make trading easy. And the only way trading is going to be easy is by actually having a good strategy. So let's talk about what makes up a good strategy and what in particular makes mine profitable for me and how it allows me to basically live the life that I want to live. All right, so my strategy is called Ride the Wave. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a pretty basic understanding of it, at least enough to go out and start implementing some things for yourself. So first of all, there's a couple of key terms that you're going to need to know beforehand so you can fully understand what it is that I'm teaching you. First of all, market structure, you have trends, you have the moving average, and you have rejection candles. Those are the main ones. And of course, also, time frame alignment and just like in general top-down analysis. But I'm assuming you already know that. Just more so, the actual basis of the strategy itself is more so like the moving average and things like this. So let's actually get into the video. I'm going to break it down, each one of those terms for you, so you have at least a really good understanding of all of the basic foundation. So like I said, you can start to go use this as soon as today. All right, so we'll start off by doing a full top-down analysis on this market starting from the weekly time frame. This is actually a trade that I just hit take profit on recently, about like last night on USD CHF. Crazy trade. I literally called it out on my Instagram. Let me go here. The before also, because I was so confident about it. Like I literally posted this the second that I entered in right here.
I mean, we got the 4-hour time frame.
So as you see right here,
we got
when I entered
the Fibonacci right here, and we got the area of
those are some of the reasons why I entered in, right? Like we had the area of support, we had a 4-hour EMA, and I mean, you can see I literally posted this the second that I saw it. And I'm talking about here, like, don't hesitate on the entry. So I'm going to get into all of that.
This trade because price needs to retest.
Someone said, the trade wasn't going to play out because, like I said, I posted this in real time. Of course it was going to. I mean, anything could happen, but the chances once we got this little reaction off of here that price was going to go higher was great because it was the right point in the market structure. And I was very confident about that. Let's get into the top-down analysis, which is like one of the first, I guess, key terms that you need to know for my strategy. Weekly time frame. Overall, the weekly time frame, what I would consider to be a consolidation phase. Okay, so this is a consolidation phase, but when we go into the daily time frame and we start to zoom in, now we start to see a little bit more of a bullish trend forming on this daily time frame because we have a nice continuation of multiple candles that are strong. So, from December 24th, so a couple of weeks ago, we've been consistently forming strong bullish candles. Look at the size of the bearish candles, very small bearish candles, which means there is less selling pressure than buying pressure. Even when the market came up and tried to reject off of this area of resistance, it was still unable to continue and to follow through with the movement down. And then we had a series of strength candles. Strength candles is a candlestick pattern that indicates a trend. Could be the start of a trend or it could be the continuation. In this case, it's near the beginning of the start of the bullish trend. So we get a candle that comes down and taps into basically the same area where price had previously rejected off of, Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I think price came down to that same exact point and the chance of a bounce was extremely high. So I'm watching this on the smaller time frames, especially on the 4 hour. This was my main entry time frame for this one. A lot of the times I like to go down into the 1 hour, but for this one, it just looked so good on the 4 hour that this is my main entry time frame. What did I see here? I saw the candles starting to reject. Now, there was no clear sign. It wasn't like a very obvious type of buy entry, but it was one of those buy entries that when you've seen this happen over and over, it's going to be a good entry. And I always say when you have profit on the entry, let's say the market would have came up to here and then it starts to basically reverse back down, assuming that this was the start of a bearish trend, which it wasn't. Even in that case, you could still close out of the trade at break even, as long as your entry has profit. Your entry always needs to have profit. This is what I'm trying to teach to all of my students now. Entry, profit. From there, you can easily determine if the market is going to continue or if it's going to reverse. But it all starts with the timing of the market. So yeah, for my top-down analysis, we did the weekly, we did the daily. So now on the 4 hour, how do I do my top-down analysis here? Well, I'm basically just marking up the lows and the highs. And we see that we have higher lows because this was the first low, and now these are higher. And we're consistently getting higher lows. So it's not just like one higher low by chance. We could literally draw a trend line to the upside right here, showing you those higher lows. Obviously going higher. And it's safe to say that once price broke above this area of resistance, the 4 hour time frame was definitely bullish. This is what you consider to be a bullish trend. That would be pretty much it for my top down. If I was going to go on the 1 hour time frame, it was also bullish until we had this big strong move down. I have a way of differentiating when a CTI move like this, a counter trend impulse, will change trend or when it's just an aggressive reversal. So I have ways to determine this, which is why I was still confident. I was very confident actually in taking this buy. I also sent it in here. So in my group, one of the things I sent in was the exact entry point, because this is the point at which I decided it was the right trade to take. So this is how it looked on the 4 hour time frame. I think you should get used to seeing the chart like this. And then this is how it looked on the daily time frame. I know it goes against one of my rules, which is not entering in against the current daily candle direction. But in this case, because we had such other strong reasons, so many other strong reasons to enter, it can bypass it. And that's why I said it was risky, right? I said risky because it breaks one of my rules. But other than this, it was perfect. And it's not like the strongest rule that I have. It definitely is helpful, but it's not the only one. Going back to the chart itself, let's go ahead and talk about the next concept that you guys need to know. And that's going to be marking your zones. So how did I mark this blue zone that ended up being very relevant for this trade? Well, the first thing that I did was, looking left, I saw here, like, okay, well, maybe I could draw a zone here or I could draw one here. But if I do it here, right, where this gray rectangle is, I get more taps of where the market has bounced. Here, I only get one, but if I move it down here, I get a couple here, a couple of rejection taps here, and a lot of wick rejections right here. So that's already 3 taps. And then if we go to the right, we get more, 4 with this move right here. And then if I go again, all right, well, this wouldn't be considered a tap because it didn't quite reach the area, but very, very close. So we have at least 4 solid times where the market literally tapped into it and rejected multiple times. Because here it happened a couple times, here once, here a couple times, and here a couple times. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 rejections off of that area. And that's how I was able to mark this zone. Now, I know someone's gonna ask, well, what time frame do you mark the zone on? I mostly like marking them on the 4-hour time frame. If you're gonna be entering it on the 1-hour chart, sometimes you can look at the 1-hour chart as well, but most of your zones should be based on the 4-hour chart. If they also happen to align with the daily chart, like this one does, then it's even better. So the next concept I had here on my list to break down for you guys was marking higher lows and lower highs, or vice versa, depending on the direction of the trend. But I've already talked about that. While I was breaking down why I took this trade, I already explained it. Basically, you're just looking at the major points about where the market is bouncing. So like, think of a rubber band. Every time the rubber band gets extended outwards, it's gonna go right back up. Every one of those points is gonna be one of your lows, and vice versa for the highs. That's how you mark higher lows. Or if it's a bearish trend, let's go to the left and identify a bearish trend, then you're gonna mark it, with lower highs and lower lows. This is very textbook. You're gonna see this in every single type of market. If you're not used to it, depending on the market structure, some are cleaner than others. So you wanna basically get some experience marking these. But the reason why this is so powerful, and I know a lot of people talk about market structure, right? Like, this is not a novel concept at all. This concept has actually been around for decades. I read a trading book from like 15 years ago that talked about market structure. That was actually one of the books that helped me out a lot. I could basically check what the exact name of it was, so I could give it to you guys. But market structure, don't let anyone tell you that this is a new concept. This concept right here, and basically what I'm drawing on my screen, has been around for decades. People way before me have been talking about this, but it's efficient, it's effective, and it actually works. Here's a great example of why it works so well. You have this low down here. What is the market supposed to do? It's supposed to form a lower high. Let's say it's this one relative to this high. And then it's supposed to make a lower high. Immediately, you can see that instead of actually respecting the high and this high, it just went higher. That broke the bearish market structure, and you can immediately stop to look for sells. Like, you're not looking for sells anymore. And then what do you see? The market continues bullish. So you save yourself this whole price movement from looking at the laws of market structure. It's not supposed to go higher. So if it does, you exit, or you simply don't look for any more sells. And let's say you enter in a sell here. This is where the magic truly plays out. Let's say you enter in a sell, you have a 50 pip stop loss and you have a 140 pip take profit, because of course you're expecting the market to continue to go down. The second that price breaks above the high at which you entered in, because you always want to enter in at a lower high if it is a bearish market. The second it breaks it, you can immediately exit out of your trade, reducing your loss by like 60 to 70%, effectively making your risk to reward a 1 to 7. Now, I don't want to lose you guys with that, but there's a lot of strategies that you can use to become a lot more profitable. Let's get into the next concept. All right, so confirmations. Confirmations is one of those things where sometimes you're going to get better confirmations than other times. In this case, I entered in as this candle started to go bullish, but I used the confirmations of rejection candles. So the thing is that they weren't officially like big rejection candles here on the 1 hour, but you still see some wicks here and you see bouncing off. Basically, the reason why I considered this to be a riskier entry, that's what I called it when I called it out, is because there was less of a confirmation entry. But in general, you are going to want to look for more solid rejection candles to then enter in. It's just that in this case, I was very confident on it, so I entered in before I had those full confirmations. But if not, this strong bullish candle would have been your confirmation. You could have still gotten a good risk to reward on this. If you put your take profit all the way up here, that's still above a 1 to 2. Assuming, you have a little bit of a smaller stop loss, still above a 1 to 2, which anything above a 1 to 2 is valid. Like you can trade anything above a 1 to 2. Does not have to be a 1 to 3 every single time. So yeah, you could have waited for that engulfing candle. That's how you would look for a better entry confirmation here. Depending on the trade, sometimes you're going to have the perfect confirmation. Sometimes you're going to have rejection candles, engulfing candles. You're going to have everything. But in this case, it's just the fact that we were bouncing off of the EMA and we had a couple of rejection wicks. For me, this was a 4-hour time frame rejection candle right here. So this was part of my confirmation. And then let's talk about where to place your stop loss. I always like placing my stop loss below the moving average, depending on what time frame I'm on. Sometimes, or depending on the market itself. Sometimes it's a 4-hour, sometimes it's a 2-hour moving average. But in this case, I just placed it at an area where, like, to the left, you have this kind of zone. And I placed it somewhere that it didn't make sense. So actually the stop loss was a bit larger, right? Something like that. It didn't make sense for the market to break below this area of support to then go all the way back up. So my stop loss is a really good stop loss because by the time the market actually goes down there, it's gonna continue. So I may as well get out. That's your general rule of thumb for stop losses. Try to make it below the moving average and also put it somewhere where the market would completely invalidate your setup if it reaches it, which is going to be below an area of support or resistance. Always going to be an area of support or resistance on the 4-hour, either above it or below the area of support or resistance. Take profit placement. I placed my take profit right at this area because I know the market is likely going to have a reaction once we reach into this resistance. What makes it a resistance? The fact that price has previously rejected this price area, 0.80, 150. Guess what? That's exactly what happened. Price came up there and rejected. So you always place your take profit at the area where it makes the most amount of sense that you would get a strong reaction off of it, or a pullback or a correction, because you don't want to have to hold through the correction. You would rather just get out immediately than let the market do whatever it's going to do after. This is a perfect example, by the way. Yeah, this is a perfect example of that. All right, so last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was trade frequency. These trades right here are not going to happen every single day. Do not expect to find a swing trade like this that is an A+ setup every single day. It's just not going to happen. What you should get used to is looking at all of the markets, looking at all of these Forex pairs, and finding a couple of A+ setups every single week. Whether that's 1, 2, 3, or 4, most of the time it's gonna be like 2. That's it, But it depends on week by week. Don't force it. If you're forcing trades and if you're taking a trade every day, that's because you don't know what an A+ setup looks like. Find only and trade only A+ setups. Trade frequency is something that can really backfire. If you're expecting an incorrect frequency, like if you're expecting 4 trades a week with this strategy, then you might be you're just gonna make less profits than if you actually had the right mindset about it. This was a perfect example right here on GBP/CHF last week that I knew was gonna go up. The second that price broke above here, I knew we were gonna go up to this next area of resistance, but I didn't get my entry. So I needed it to pull back to then enter in. This could have been an A+ setup, but it wasn't. And this is gonna happen a lot where you find trades like these, but it just doesn't give you quite the entry that you were looking for. And you just have to be okay with letting it go. If I would have chased this market, I could have potentially had a loss. And it just would not have been smart for me to chase this market. And one more thing you want to remember, the more you trade this strategy, the more you're going to get used to seeing the pattern in the market. And it's just going to get easier and easier with experience. So if you want to speed up your process of learning and just get straight into profits, get straight into winning trades every single week, and actually start getting payouts, I'm helping traders do that as fast as possible. I have a whole system developed. I have a profit blueprint And basically I'm using it to help people get funded in as little as like less than 90 days. So if you're interested in that, check the link in the description. It's Synergy Trading Hub. And with that being said, leave a comment below if you enjoyed this video with what you want to see next.